The standard C++ library provides some basic functions for handling time and date. Here I have a working copy of time.cpp from chapter 9 of the exercise files. You notice I've included the ctime header, and that defines this type along with these functions, but it defines this type called time t. Time t is typically a 64-bit signed integer giving the number of seconds since midnight January 1st, 1970 GMT or UTC. This value is sometimes called the Unix epoch date. It was traditionally a 32-bit number, but that size would not hold a date beyond 19 January 2038, so the Unix world has begun transitioning to a 64-bit epoch dates. And a 64-bit epoch date will not run out until about 292 billion years from now. So the universe is commonly accepted to be less than 14 billion years old, so I think we're safe. When I build and run this, you'll notice I'm taking the size of time t here, and up here at the top it says, on this system, time t is 64 bits. So that's good. It's not going to run out in a few years. It'll run out rather in a few billion years. So the GMT time function and the local time function, these both return a structure called struct tm. And this structure has members for the different parts of the date and time, and we'll look at those in a minute here. The GM time returns the structured time in GMT, and the local time returns the structured time in your local time for your system, assuming that your system is set up properly and knows what its local time zone is. And then we can use this TM structure to grab all these different parts of the structure and the parts of the date and time. And let's take a look at what those different parts are. So there are a number of different members in this structure. There's one for seconds after the minute, minutes after the hour, hours since midnight, day of the month, scaled to 1 through 31, the month since January, and this one is actually scaled from 0 to 11, so you need to add 1 to that to get the month number. Years since 1900, so if you want a 4-digit date, you have to add 1900 to that. Days since Sunday, days since January 1st, and a flag for whether or not your local time zone supports daylight savings time. So here I'm using each of these members of this structure. I'm getting the year, I'm adding 1900 to it, I'm getting the month, I'm adding 1 to it, and the day, hour, and time, and seconds. And so this is the universal time. UTC stands for Universal Coordinated Time. And you see I'm formatting it simply with printf. And so if I scroll up here, it says universal time is now, and there's the year, month, and day, all in a very nice readable format, and the same thing for the local time, and I'm in Arizona, so that's my local time, I believe, is 7 hours different from GMT. And there's another function called stirf time, which directly formats the time, and it uses its own formatting tokens that are different from printf, but they're pretty obvious here. Capital Y is for the 4-digit year, lowercase m is for the 2-digit month, day, hours, minutes, and seconds. And so again, we have universal time and local time. And these both use pointers to these TM structures. So the basic time and date functions are rudimentary, but they're standardized and they're functional for many purposes. For more advanced time and date functionality, you may need to use functions more specific to your target operating system.